Hello everybody and welcome to the long length review on Death of a King, Aquaman. So I'll be covering in this video and story of Aquaman from issue number 18 until issue number 25. This story, the story is all about Return of a King, and the story was really awesome. It was really good in many ways. So I'm gonna start this issue. I'm gonna start this review by starting with issue number 18 of Aquaman. So this issue picks up or shows us two people, workers, are staying in a house until an earthquake happens. The earthquake, it just happens and both of them dies. But the second one dies, by murdered. He died murdered. Someone killed him. Later on, we see Aquaman fighting and getting back the weapons to Atlantis because these weapons were left from the last attack of Orm, the previous king. Some weapons were left on the earth, on the surface, and he wanted to take it back before anyone used it for harm. So later on, we see that fight between, not a fight, more like a vocal fight between Mark and Arthur. Mark doesn't really like Arthur, the new king. He doesn't like his new ways. He doesn't like nothing really about him until um, one of the soldiers comes to Arthur and tell him that Tula, your sister, is waiting for you. So Tula goes to him and she'll be like, hello, welcome my king, blah blah blah. He'll be like, no need for all this. It's okay. So she'll tell him about his advisor, the one who's called Volko, the one who we saw in the previous episode, in the previous issues, Throne of Atlantis. After that, should him about the judgment that should happen on him. Either he's dead, either they're gonna kill him or whatever they're gonna do with him. Because he betrayed Atlantis, he betrayed the king. After that, he remembers Mira. After that, we see Mira that she's kind of getting um, arrested because of what she did in issue number 17. I'll be reviewing it soon for you guys. But for now, she kind of she wanted to get arrested, but I'm just gonna leave this place, police station. I have nothing to do here. I didn't do nothing wrong. So later on, Aquaman visit Orn, the guy who keeps an eye on Volko, and he'll be talking to Volko about who do you think would be taking all these weapons from Atlantis, and what do you think? Tell me like his name. So he tells him that his name is the Scavenger. He's the one and only who could really do that. So Aquaman goes to check on it actually, but before that we see Scavenger and his men. They're preparing the weapons of Atlantis for something really big. Uh, Later on we see Mira going outside, of the police station. She kind of like more of escaping after she'd be like, okay, whatever, just take me. But after that, Officer Watson, she comes by and she'll be like, I'm gonna help you and etc. Until she lose it and she just, blow them away with that kind of snow until she even get blowed away. Something really big happened and someone calls her daughter of Exebo, and an old aged man comes from nowhere. He's holding some kind of a specter in his hand, a crown, all of stuff. So this is maybe the Death King that this whole thing about. uh, the next issue picks up, and it's issue number 19. There was two covers for this issue. The second cover was really awesome, where Aquaman is like bowing for that king. Uh, this issue starts with Aquaman going and calling out a monster called Tupo. This monster is actually no one really could control him until now. Arthur himself couldn't control him, but he tried talking to him. He really wanted to control him. He wanted to take over his mind, and he wanted to own him in some kind of way. So later on, we see Orm talking to his kind of lawyer about his death penalty and what's gonna happen to him. Orm didn't really care. He said like, uh, you know, I didn't do nothing. Uh, I killed a lot of people, yeah, on Earth, but look at what you did in our oceans. You killed a lot of Atlanteans and etc. Later on, we see Mark and Tula. They're talking about, kind of getting Orm to Atlantis. kind of breaking him out of the prison, and they need the help of someone called SWAT. So later on, they show us SWAT, the guy, the Atlantean, the only Atlantean actually that doesn't, he couldn't breathe under the water. He can't talk under the water. You know, he wears that mask to cover himself and talk under the water. There will be a fight between Mark, SWAT, and Tula until Mark gets him under the water and be like, okay, okay, I'm just gonna help you. Let's finish this thing. So later on, we see a ship that's kind of going down until we see some kind of a tornado is happening, and a specter hit on the ground until it's all gone. The king takes Mira to somewhere no one knows at that time, and the tornado is still going on until they go into that tornado. They swim into that tornado, and they reaches to a place. After that, we see Aquaman. He heard about some stuff going on in uh, the atmosphere. There is something really going on in the inland, and think after okay. So after that, when he was swimming, sorry, he smelled the fuel, and at that time it kind of blew away everything. Uh, Aquaman reaches to the subs where two of the men were left. One of them were dead, and the other man was kind of experiment on. So they took care of him. They took him back to Atlantis. After that, Mira, she finds herself in Exibel. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing the place name right. The guards see Mira and they announce her return to the king, which is called nurses. After on, they complete this story. Well, they don't really complete it, but they take us to another place in issue number 20. It wasn't really a tie-in, but it was kind of a tie-in. It was really in the oceans this time. It was in the island the whole time. It starts up with a skinwalker, okay, and they're the ones who are on this mission is the operative, Yawara, and prisoner of war. So the operative will be talking to his wife, I guess, or something, or his daughter, yeah. And then Joko will come in, his grandson. And then from nowhere, Aquaman, Yawara, and what was the other woman's name? Yeah, well, hold on. Their names are really fucked up. Oh yeah, Yawara and Prisoner of War. So these two comes up with Aquaman, and they'll be like, "We need your help, operative. We need you to find us the weapons, or more like what's happening on the land." So they take us again back to the land where the sister called Victoria and Sky, the brother, he kind of take care of her. He's really strict with her and stuff. And she kind of sees her grandma's ghost. She's talking with her ghosts and etc. Later on, he goes to meet his uncle, her brother. After that, we see the landing of operative Cole. Excuse me for that, and Yawara and the prisoner of war. After that, we see a woman that's just coming into the plane, and she starts touching stuff until Yawara will be like, "Who the hell are you?" And she'll be like, "I'm a friend, and I want to talk to you about some stuff happening right here." And she knows kinda Yawara, she knows about her. There's something weird about her. And she started talking about the Skinwalker, the one who killed her grandma. After that, they go to the kind of a ghost war, yeah, where operative Yawara and what Sky and the other guy, the war guy, prisoner of war, they go all there to fight Skinwalker, to put an end for him because there's really something wrong with it right now. Operative, I mean the prisoner of war, he puts out his army of soldiers, and they start, shooting at him, and this whole big fight starts between them until Sky unleashed this mask about the Skinwalker, and the Skinwalker was the uncle of hers. So she was like, I'm gonna lock you here forever, and she did so. After that, they just go back to the plane, and nothing really happened. Like this issue, I found it was like not interesting. I didn't find it really to do anything with Aquaman, but it was good at the same time. It wasn't that bad. Uh, when they went for issue number 21, 21 was really good issue. I really liked it. They showed us Mira and nurses, the guy who should be her husband by now, but she didn't really do anything. He kissed her, of course, because he told that she's in love with him. And later on, we know that Mira went to the other, part of ocean where to meet Arthur. She wanted to kill him before 3 years before she met him. That's what was the plan. Until we see that Aquaman, getting back, and he's trying kind of to find the cure, or no, I mean like more of to help the people until he reaches and he finds the place where the scavenger was hiding, the guy who trades with weapons. Excuse me for that. After that, we find that scavenger is really planning for something really big tonight. He's gonna do it tonight. It begins tonight. After that, Volko, we see Volko calling for the guards. He wanted to meet with King Arthur. It's really important, but didn't really care. After that, we see the soldier who was kind of dead or experiment on. He was called, and Arthur went to check up on him and see if he's doing okay. Until Mark and Tula reaches to point where they're gonna just, break, like, they're just gonna break off uh, Arm himself. Later on, we see Mira and Nurses kind of in a fight, and Nurses would be like, "You're a traitor. You traded us," and he would be like, "Arrest the queen." But of course, that didn't happen because they got kind of stoned, not stoned the way we get stoned. No, I mean like they just got froze. I mean, yeah. So later on, Aquaman, he gets back to Atlantis. Uh, More to Exibel, he was looking for Mira. He wanted to find her. He wanted to see her. He wanted to meet her because there is something really not going right. And then he does that tornado thing that happened before. And then he goes into it again, just like what happened between Mira and the king. After that, he meets the king, and the king who prisoned these Exibel people. We see two different panels. Volko talking to Orn, and the king talking to the current king Arthur, and then they will be talking about that he was the first ruler of Atlantis, and we see the scavenger working his way through Atlantis, and that's where the issue ends. He's working his way through Atlantis. He want to take over Atlantis. That's where issue number 21 stopped. That was just more interesting, and it got me to read it more and more. I didn't stop reading it, guys. I finished this whole arc story in just one day. The story continues where we see Mark, uh, Swat, and Tula planning to go to break off, Orm, the previous king. After that, we see the king and Arthur. The Death King, he kind of talks about his life and how it used to be. And of course, like King Arthur, he talked about what the previous people told him about, but he was like, some of the stuff that they told you is true, and some of the stuff that they told you were really like just lies, and you were told like just like it was really kind of interesting between these two talks between kings. After that, we see Aquaman trying to take control over him by telepathy, but like he thought like, really, do you think that your telepathy gonna work on me? So he just gets busy, attacking those shards that Aquaman called until Aquaman frees Mira and the others. Of course, after they take us to Scavenger, where he's taking control of Atlantis, and they're kind of killing every Atlantean on Atlantis. He'll be like, "Where's Aquaman? There's something happening for sure." Um, Volko gets out of the prison. Someone was really close to kill him until Orange just let him leave it. The king will deal with him. He's the one who's gonna do the judgment on him. After that, we see Mira and Aquaman running from the king, the Death King. Until we see him, or more like, Aquaman. He attacks him with a big ship, but he didn't get a scratch on him. He was like really uh, strong, and it was his first time. Aquaman was the first time he was like visiting Exibel, so he doesn't know really much about it. But uh, the Death King, he knows a lot about it. He lived mostly half of his life there. Later on, we see Mira freeing every single Exibel, and she freed her nurses and everything. After that, we see something really interesting. Exibel Man and Aquaman, they went fight with the Death King, and of course, the Aquaman was down. He couldn't do nothing. The whoopers were taking from him. He was bleeding, and Scavenger, on the other hand, he was taking control of Atlantis. And on the other hand, Mark, Tula, and Swat, they were like just taking, they're just working out their plan. They're taking down Orm. They're gonna free him soon. And after that, we see Mira. I'm not alone. I'm gonna be with my everyone. I'll be with my family and everything. But nurses, her king or her husband, he just abandoned her in front of the king, and they just bow for him down. So that was the end of issue number 22. But that's not it. After that, we see in issue number 23 a lot of confusion that's happening. Mira and Aquaman try to escape, and of course, the evil people don't leave them to run just like that. They tried to leave Exibel in a time, but they couldn't. But before that, Mira just kissed Aquaman. She gave him that kiss, and they kept swimming as fast as they could. After that, we saw Swat, and Tula trying to break Orm again out of the prison, and they take us back again to Atlantis, where the fight is still going on between Atlantean people and the surface people. After that, we see the comeback of Aquaman and Mira. They help Atlantean by taking down the surface people, the one who are taking over Atlantis. Aquaman was really close to death until Orn gives his life. He sacrificed his life to save the king, and that was really one emotional moment for me. It was really cool, and emotional at the same time. Orn was dead, and Aquaman starts to fall back. They gotta fall back. They gotta run. After that, we saw Arthur calling one of the strongest, maybe, animals in the world or in the ocean, Tupo. So he calls on Tupo to take down the surface people. He's bleeding. He's not stopping. His mind, he's just couldn't stop. He couldn't take all that powerful energy and telepathy that he was using. Until we saw the Death King leading the Exibel people, and he's attacking until Arthur just lost sight. He went down. Until after that, we see Arthur waking up, and we see him waking up after 6 months. Luke was like, "What? 6 months? I slept for 6 months." That was a lot for Aquaman. After that, they took us to the conclusion. Maybe I could call it a conclusion of the story. Issue number 24. The part where everything was just clear for Aquaman. They showed us first how Aquaman got born. His mother hooked up with a guy from the sea. From the surface. And that's where everything happened. After that, we saw that Aquaman, or more like Volko, discovered something under the ground. and it was kind of a throne. So this throne, if Aquaman sits on it, he could seize the what happened, or what happened in the past. What is this whole thing about? You know what I'm saying? So they show us the origins of this guy, the Death King, which is named called Atlan. He's the first uh, king of Atlantis. He's the one who was living on the surface before, this whole thing went down. His brother kind of betrayed him. They started a fight between them. Atlan defended his family, etc. He went back and he found his family dead. After that, he's the one who came up with the specter that took down Atlantis. So he was basically the one who took Atlantis down. And then we saw him in others, in other, in other panels where actually it was three parts in the ocean: Atlantis, Oxibial, and the Trench. And that was the end of issue number 24, which was pretty cool, until we reached for issue number 25. And it is the final battle, which was really great, and it ended in a really great way. So let's start it up. This battle starts up with uh, Aquaman calling up. No, first of all, he got the Spectre. After the Spectre he got it, he calls on the Trench. After he called on the Trench, he went to attack the Death King Atlan and the others. And of course, Mira was kind of prisoned, and she was like, nurses. Like, nurses told her, marry me and you'll just get out of there. But she was like, I'll kill you the moment I get out of there. So then we see Aquaman leading the Trench, and every kind of creature in the ocean. He broke through the prison that Mira was prisoned in. He took her down. He took her out. I mean, he saved her. He saved his, Atlantean people. He went after the king, and the fight was really awesome between them. It was pretty awesome between these two people. And in the end, I guess it was for Arthur. He took down Atlantean with everything he got. He didn't, he didn't like give up at all. He reached to a point where a volcano started up, and Arthur just took him down to that volcano. He started melting. You know what I'm saying? Because I guess he was made of ice or something. He started melting. Everything was starting melting, and then Aquaman was coming out of the volcano in that kind of pose, which was really like awesome. I couldn't believe it. It was really cool. Atlantis won, nurses got back, and everything was just okay until Mira decided to leave. Aquaman was all lonely. He couldn't do nothing. Mira had a second thought about it, and we saw Aquaman on this throne crying. It was really emotional until Mira gets back to him, and that's where not the issue ends, but that's where the story ends. Mira and Aquaman live together again. P. And he shaved his, beard after all that. After that, we see in the end of the issue, living a life on the surface until someone breaks in, called nurses. That's where the issue ends, and that's where they gonna continue this epic story event that's called Rise of the Seven Seas in Justice League. I can't wait for this one. This story was so great. I enjoyed reading it for hours. It was really awesome. Uh, I can't tell you guys, but to try it out. I already gave you my review on it. It was maybe a lot of spoilers. I'm sorry, but that's how I do it. I'm gonna rate this story 10 out of 10. Everything was just great about it. Maybe only one issue was disappointing, but everything basically was just so great. Let me know, guys, what did you think of this issue right down below, or I mean, this story event right down below. Tell me if you're looking for the Justice League story event, Rise of the Seven Seas, and leave your thoughts down below. And that's it, guys. Don't forget to subscribe right down below, comment, like, share, and see you guys around later. Take care.